Here's a number your local dealer will never put on a poster. You can ride away on a brand new motorcycle for less than the down payment on most used cars. 6 of them, actually. And the reason nobody's pointing you toward these bikes isn't quality, it's margin. Stick around because the last one makes 51 horsepower for under $6,500. Number 6, Honda Grom, $3,599. That's the whole bike, not a deposit, not a starting at asterisk that balloons once you walk into the showroom. That's the out-the-door price on a brand new 2026 Honda Grom. And honestly, for what this thing does to your face every time you twist the throttle, it should cost double. The Grom runs a tiny 124 cubic centimeters air-cooled single, making somewhere around 9 to 10 horsepower. On paper, that's lawnmower territory. In the real world, on a tight city street with a 30-inch seat that lets you flat-foot at every light, it's the most fun you can legally have for the price of a decent laptop. You're not chasing top speed here, you're carving through traffic, hitting triple-digit fuel economy, and grinning like an idiot the entire time. Now here's the part dealers gloss over. The Grom is a terrible highway bike. It tops out somewhere around 55 to 60 miles an hour, and at that speed, you're working it hard. If your commute involves an interstate, walk away. This isn't your bike. That's the honest flaw. And anyone who tells you otherwise is trying to move inventory. But here's the real question. Would you actually buy one? Because the riders who do tend to keep them forever. Ask any Grom owner, and they'll tell you the same thing. It's the bike that never leaves the garage, even after they've bought something bigger. Compare it to a Kawasaki Z125 Pro, which plays in the same sandbox. The Grom just has a deeper aftermarket, better resale, and a cult following that keeps used prices stubbornly high. This one made the list because it's the cheapest genuine doorway into motorcycling that money can buy in 2026. Not a scooter, a real clutch and gears motorcycle. And dealers would rather you never knew how little it costs to start. If you're already enjoying this breakdown, do me a quick favor and hit that like button. It genuinely helps the channel get these in front of more riders. Now, this next one isn't a toy. Number 5, Royal Enfield Hunter 350. A buddy of mine walked into a dealership last spring fully intending to finance a $15,000 cruiser. He walked out on something that cost less than a third of that, and 3 months later, he told me it was the best money decision he'd made in years. The bike was a Royal Enfield Hunter 350. Picture the scene. You want something that looks the part, sounds the part, and doesn't bury you in payments. The Hunter delivers on all three. At its heart is a 349 cubic centimeter air oil cooled single, putting out around 20 horsepower and 27 newton meters of torque. Those aren't numbers that win drag races, but that's not the point. 90% of that torque arrives down low, so pulling away from a stoplight feels effortless and relaxed. With 17-inch wheels at both ends and a short wheelbase, this thing flicks through city corners like a bike costing far more. The price? $4,299. And Royal Enfield throws in a 3-year unlimited mileage warranty, which at this price point is almost unheard of. Dual-channel ABS comes standard too. You're getting genuine modern hardware wrapped in retro styling for the cost of a used commuter car. The honest downside, it's heavy for the power it makes, tipping the scales around 400 pounds, and it runs out of breath above 70 miles an hour. Sustained highway slogs aren't its happy place. This is a city and back road machine through and through. Here's something most reviewers won't tell you though. At this money, you're getting a bike that looks like it belongs next to a Triumph Speed 400 costing nearly $1,000 more. And to a lot of riders, the Royal Enfield character is worth more than the spec sheet gap. That's exactly why it earned a spot here. It's the value champion, the bike that proves cheap and desirable can live in the same garage. Completely different philosophy with this next one. Where the Hunter is relaxed and retro, this bike wants to be ridden hard. Number 4, Yamaha MT-03. Let's talk numbers, because the MT-03's spec sheet is where it quietly wins. A 321 cubic centimeters liquid-cooled inline twin, an inverted KYB front fork, an assist and slipper clutch, and around 42 horsepower at the crank. Read that list again. That's hardware you'd expect on a bike costing $2,000 more. Translate it to the road, and here's what it means. That twin-cylinder engine loves to rev, so unlike a small single that runs out of puff, the MT-03 keeps pulling cleanly past 80 miles an hour, making it genuinely highway-capable in a way the cheaper bikes on this list simply aren't. The inverted fork isn't just for show either. It gives the front end a planted, confident feel when you lean into a corner, the kind of feedback that makes a new rider trust the bike fast. And it sips fuel at around 62 miles per gallon. The price lands at $4,999. For a fuel-injected twin-cylinder naked bike with real suspension, that's aggressive, and it's no accident Yamaha priced it to undercut the competition. What's the catch? Two things. The warranty is only 12 months, which feels stingy next to Royal Enfield's 3 years. And at sustained interstate speeds, the little twin can feel buzzy through the bars on a long day. Neither is a deal breaker, but you should know. Going in. Stack it against a Kawasaki Z400 and the MT-03 holds its own on price while arguably offering sharper styling, and that styling is a big reason it sells. I'll be straight with you. Of every beginner-friendly naked bike under $5,000, this is the one I'd point a new rider toward without hesitation. It made the cut because it shatters the myth that affordable has to mean slow or cheap feeling. It feels like a real motorcycle because it is one. Now this next bike, it's the one your dealer will actively steer you away from, and once I explain why, you'll understand it's pure profit margin talking. Number 3. Honda Rebel 300. The problem with most cruisers is that they're intimidating. Tall, heavy, and unforgiving if you stall at a light in front of a crowd, the 2026 Honda Rebel 300 was built to erase every one of those fears, and this year, it added a trick that genuinely changes the game for new riders. Honda dropped its new E-clutch onto the Rebel 300 for 2026. In plain English, you still shift gears, you still get full control, but the bike will not stall, ever. Pull up to a stop, forget to pull in a clutch lever you no longer need to worry about, and nothing happens. For someone learning, that single feature removes the most stressful part of riding. Pair it with a 286cc single and one of the lowest seats in all of motorcycling at 27.2 inches, and you've got a bike almost anyone can plant both feet on with total confidence. Here's where it gets interesting. That E-clutch tech pushed the price up to $5,349, noticeably more than last year's model. And that's exactly why some salespeople would rather upsell you to a bigger Rebel 500. The margins are juicier and the story is easier. But for a nervous first-timer, the 300 with E-clutch is the smarter buy, full stop. The honest limitation? It's still a 286cc single, so highway passing power is modest. You'll plan your overtakes rather than just twisting and going. And the stock setup is a solo seat. 2-up riding costs extra. Against a Kawasaki Eliminator, which, spoiler, is coming up, the Rebel gives up power but wins on sheer approachability and that stall-proof clutch. It made this list because it's the most beginner-proof motorcycle you can buy new in 2026. And that's worth more to a new rider than any horsepower figure. Subscribe if you want more honest motorcycle breakdowns like this. No spec sheet fluff, just straight talk. Speaking of straight talk, this next one is the bike most people walk right past at the dealer. Number 2. Yamaha YZF-R3. Put a YZF-R3 next to a Kawasaki Ninja 400 on the showroom floor, and most shoppers drift toward the Kawasaki on horsepower alone. That's a mistake, and here's why the R3 might be the smarter buy for the rider who's honest about how they ride. The R3 shares its 321cc twin with the MT-03 we just covered, but wraps it in full sport bike bodywork and a more committed riding position. The payoff is real. That fairing gives you actual wind protection at speed, the Supersport ergonomics teach you proper body position, and the bike is light enough to be forgiving while still being track-a-day capable straight off the lot. It's a real sport bike that a beginner can grow with for years instead of outgrowing in a season. $5,499 gets you in for a fully fared, fuel-injected sport bike with genuine racing DNA in the lineup above it. That's a steal, and it holds value well because the R-Series badge means something on the used market. The trade-off is comfort. That aggressive riding position is fantastic on a canyon road and tiring in stop-and-go traffic. Your wrists will let you know after an hour in the city. And like its MT-03 sibling, it ships with only a 12-month warranty. If your riding is mostly commuting, the upright MT-03 is honestly the better pick for the same engine. But for the rider who wants the sport bike look and the sport bike feel without the insurance nightmare horsepower of a 600, the R3 is the sweet spot. It made the list because it proves you don't need to spend 10 grand to own a proper sport bike, and the people who know, they know. But before we get to my honest pick for the one bike here, I'd actually hand my own money over for. This last machine is the one that makes the entire list worth watching. Number 1. Kawasaki Eliminator. A buddy who'd ridden small cruisers for years threw a leg over the Eliminator, came back from the test ride, and just said, "That's not a beginner bike. That's a real bike that happens to be easy." He's right. This is where practically free stops meaning compromise. The Eliminator runs a 451 cubic centimeter parallel twin lifted from the Ninja family, and it makes 51 horsepower, easily the most muscle on this entire list. What that means in the real world is the one thing every other bike here struggles with: effortless, highway merging, and confident passing. You twist the throttle and the bike just goes, no planning required. Yet Kawasaki kept the seat down at just under 29 inches, so it stays as friendly at a stoplight as the Rebel. Low and easy, but with a genuine punch when you want it. Pricing starts at $6,499 for the non-ABS model, or $6,799 if you want ABS, which for the record, I'd absolutely pay for. It's the priciest bike here, but look at what you're getting. More than double the Grom's power and a Ninja-derived engine for the cost of a high-mileage used sedan. The honest knock against it? The fuel tank is on the small side, so your range between fill-ups isn't huge, and the twin-shock rear suspension is basic. Fine for the money, but you'll feel rougher roads. Stack it against a Honda Rebel 500, and the Eliminator wins decisively on power and that revvy ninja character. It closes the list because it answers the question every skeptic asks. Can a cheap bike actually feel like a serious motorcycle? This one does. So are these bikes really practically free? Not literally, but a brand new warranted bike for less than a used car's down payment is close. My pick? The Yamaha MT-03. The Hunter 350 is the value king, the Eliminator the most fun. Which one ends up in your garage? Drop it below and subscribe.